Brunswick Planning Board for February 15th, 2024. If everybody please rise to the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our agenda tonight is as follows. We have one item on our agenda. It's the Sillis Amendment to a major subdivision. Applicant seeks major subdivision approval to create 15 new lots on approximately 16.44 acres of land, with 14 lots being residential and 1 lot being used for stormwater management on property located on the east side of Cole Lane. Jim Sillis is the applicant. We also have some new business and old business. So the official agenda is that one item. For our meeting, we would like to first address the minutes of February 1st for approval. Has everybody had an opportunity to read those? Are there any corrections, additions, or amendments to the minutes? Okay, I will make a motion to approve the minutes as they were submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay, moving right into our agenda. So this amendment of major subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project has been before the board before. We wanted the opportunity to clear some of the vegetation and perform some additional deep technical on the proposed on the lot 15, which is an area of stormwater recharge, and within the cul-de-sac. These test holes have been completed, and we found substantially well-drained soils in both locations. We found that the majority of any stormwater flow will actually be contained on-site through this recharge. There is an existing culvert, which has been existing over the years, and is subsequently been brushed along the downstream side as it crosses Cool Lane. I've been in communication with Superintendent Bill Bradley to have that replaced. And the proposed project, as you indicated, Mr. Chairman, consists of 14 single-family homes provided by town water, and will be served by individual Windsor County approved septic systems. The majority of the lots are in-ground system. This was a former gravel bank area, consisting of very, very well drained soils. And lots 1, 2, and 3 will be shallow touches due to the presence of some silt and clay. But nonetheless, the soils are quite well in those areas. So, in a nutshell, that is the scope of the project. We wanted the opportunity to share with the board the scope of work, and we're asking if the board would consider arranging a public hearing, which we could discuss the project further with the residents.
Okay, Russ, just for the record, I don't know if it was on the recording, you're Russ Reeves.
Excuse me, yes, my name is Russ Reeves, with Reeves Engineers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a pretty extensive folder of prior minutes and so forth and so on. And I think we have to backtrack a couple of things. There was through a series of meetings in 2007 and 2008. It was determined that you needed a waiver on this project. You needed two waivers. One was to have 14 residential lots on a dead-end cul-de-sac where the limit for the town code is 12. So there was a waiver granted for the 14 lots. There was also a waiver requested to, and I don't know all the particulars on the dimensions, but there were some changes in the road going in as compared to the town regulations for a road. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I had a discussion with Andy today, and we're trying to figure out, those were done 14,
16 years ago.
16 years ago, whether they're with a different, stormwater and all that kind of issues here, whether they're actually a acceptable waiver. So I think the 14 houses, I don't think that has changed. So that waiver could possibly stand, but I think the highway may have some issues. Would you like to weigh in on this, Andy?
Well, at this point, it's just an issue to be addressed, given the length of time that's passed between the town board review and approval. And that was in January of 2008 and current, and whether the town board should review those waivers again. We note the issues there, that we'll have to look at that.
Yep.
All right. Now, I visited the site today, and I seem to recall we had quite a bit of discussion. I think there was a meeting and included Mark Kessler at the time. At the entrance to the cul-de-sac and the development, in regards to the drainage and so forth and so on. And I noticed that there was, it looked like a paved strip across there. Was that culvert replaced as a result of that visit years ago? Does anybody know?
There was an existing slab there that was a small office area, because that was a part of the construction. It was a site, it was a gravel mine. And that served as a permanent office for that site. There was a culvert, but that culvert over the years on the opposite side of the street, that embankment was extremely steep and will need to be stabilized. And it affected the culvert there. I think Bill Bradley was looking to replace that culvert.
Yeah, you mentioned at the beginning that it was considered.
And that discharges to the posting then?
Eventually to the post. Yes.
Now, as far as stormwater management, Wayne,
Yes.
how, what change, is there anything that has to be looked at this as far as whether it's now compliant with the stormwater management regulations?
Mr. Chairman, I can address that. We obtained, we went in and did deep test holes and found very, very well drained soils in lower areas below the detention pond, both detention pond, so that we can actually rely on recharge here quite a bit. And I think Aaron Vera is going to be providing revised stormwater analysis and stormwater prevention plan.
With the design and the SWIP, with the, yeah, we don't have that yet.
Okay.
He's working on that.
But he'll have to comply to the new regulations.
But that is information that has to be provided before we schedule a public hearing.
I think it should be, so that there's a full record of the application.
Okay.
I mean, we can work out all the details after, but I think there should be a complete application before we schedule.
Anybody have any questions? I don't remember who was on the planning board at that time. I know I was chairman.
The minutes show you where Dave was here,
They,
and Kevin
Kevin,
was
yeah.
here. Other members in here.
I have a question about the discharge from the stormwater management on lot 15. It appears like it goes across private lands, but I'm not sure that's the full picture. Maybe overflow.
Where, yeah. Does that go along the road at discharge?
No. I think, here with this, that is really a recharge basin. I think one of the problems is that is a ditch that's on someone else's property and was overflowing into this one. And so I think that was put in because it was inundating, it was to accept storm so to avoid inundating other parts of the site.
So it may be evident in the stormwater management report comes
Yes.
through, but right now,
In other words, it was this ditch section, I think one of the neighbors further above did some improvements and created a large amount of water sliding down through this adjacent ditch section. And it was migrating over into the subdivision. So to create a formal spot for it to end up and be recharged into our recharge basin, that was great. Otherwise, it would not be managed all over.
Which way does that swell flow?
That, you mean the,
On the adjacent property?
well, it's coming down, from behind, and parallels with this property line. Ultimately goes into a pressure. The developer will be replacing that as a catch basin. I think the developer will be replacing that. I think the town knows that the culvert goes across, those ideas to replace that culvert. And so that's the problem. Much of the runoff that we have will be absorbed directly into both recharge. Mainly on the swales, along the road.
I might have to sit down with Aaron, Bill, and go over this
Yeah,
one. So
yeah, that's right.
we all
I
understand.
know Aaron's working on the materials right now, and I did discuss this with him. We'll sit down with him.
And then my only other question was, the 10% grade on the road. That, I don't remember what the town standard is, but if that's been passed by the town highway department.
It's gonna be tough to get a negative grade on the way into the site, because it's, but I think you got enough running distance here to be able to do that.
We have enough to provide that.
Yeah.
Is Cole Lane a town road?
I'll find out for you. Pretty sure it is, let me confirm.
Will this road be, in this development dedicated to the town?
Yes, yes, it will.
How's that stormwater management area going to be maintained moving forward for the future? Thought about that?
Yeah, I think,
Lee, what was your question?
well, in other words,
Maintenance of the stormwater.
Yeah, I wanted to go over that as well.
yeah, I think, Bill was talking about taking that over. Yeah. So we want to kill the bidding and what we were looking for. Configuration and.
So if I can weigh in, that was discussed. Now, looking back in the record, I can't remember if it was all the way back in 07 or 08, I think it was. And there was a discussion at the time that the town policy was to have an HOA created for ownership and operation. And the record reflects you were suggesting it should be a drainage district.
Well, yeah, but what happened was, what Bill shared with us was that the town did not have the best experience with the HOA.
Oh, it's moved past that, and now the town has moved in the direction of creating drainage districts.
That's, yes,
And so we're gonna have to review that once the formal stormwater plan of the SWIP comes in. If there are facilities that the town will take over, there'll need to be a formal district formation process for that subdivision.
yes.
That's what the town has done in the past for subdivisions and created the individual drainage district, which is build those lot owners for maintenance of those facilities. There is no town-wide drainage district at this point, it's just on a project basis. So
Okay, yes.
we may need, depending on what's submitted, we may need ultimately on that plan and report to create that district.
Yes, yes.
And that'll include easements to get to the areas that need the maintenance. To answer the question on the Cole Lane, we have 3 entries for deeds that were offered in 68, 2 in 68, and 1 in 92. The 2 in 68, the first by Helen R. Maroney and the First Federal Savings Loan Corporation, and the 92 was by J.J. Sillis Builders. So really to see what all that is, you really got to pull the deeds. But to the best of my knowledge, we've always considered Cole Lane to be a deeded roadway.
Okay. Now, I know that's a pretty steep grade going up through there from Cole Lane. And there was a question about the slope on the road. I noticed that the drainage on the side gutters is now going to go down to the end of the street. And what appears to be there's going to be a culvert, and it's going to connect it to that culvert that goes across Cole Lane. Is that correct?
Well, much of this runoff is going to be directed to the lower detention pond because of the soils that we found.
Okay. You're talking like, oh, I can see where that is, yeah. So only those lower sections are actually gonna go down to the road.
Yeah.
There was a discussion about, is there a requirement to have a back pitch there?
The requirement of the town is to have a negative pitch.
And I don't know if it can happen there.
is a landing area. There is a landing area as you enter the access drive.
Okay.
And I think we're going to be able to achieve that, the backslope very well, very well.
All right. Okay, anybody have any other questions?
The only thing that I noticed is that the ownerships of the parcels around, quite a bit of that has changed. So there's just things in trust, the one down here is no longer Elmer, it's another owner,
Okay,
so.
we'll do it. Thank you. Thank you.
So it's one of the nitpicky thing on the site statistics, the area of the property is listed as 716,000 square feet plus or minus. And then the subdivision lot coverage is 7,005. From where we lost 11,000 square feet.
Okay, well, I'll check that. I'll check that. No worries, I'll check that.
A lot of
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, it seems like, we're going to request for SWIP. There's a question that we still have to address as far as the waivers.
I'll review that.
Okay. Would you be able to get that information to us before the next meeting?
What would be that date?
That would be the 7th of March, I believe. That's a 3-week period.
I would like the opportunity to talk to my colleague, Mr. Vera. I believe we could get that information for you.
And then if it was, would that make it pretty well complete as far as information for a public hearing?
They should probably refresh the environmental assessment form as well. Get that into us for review.
Yeah, one thing that probably we'll do is when you do that, list out, subject to discussion with Wayne, the town board approval for the drainage district. And we can get that coordinated so we can see it done.
Very good. Yes, thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, I appreciate so much the board comments, reviewing this, and that was excellent, very good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We will, put you on the agenda for the 7th,
This, very, very,
okay?
yes,
But if there's any change in that, because you can't get that information, please let us know as soon as possible. So we'll then,
I'll be out of town the 6th, 7th, and 8th, but I think my colleague can be here when I present the material.
did you verify that and get back?
I
Shot
sure
on
will.
that?
I sure will.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
okay, thank you. Okay, that concludes our regular agenda. However, we have a couple items under new business. The one, I believe, is the Park East Reichenberg project.
Good evening.
How are you?
Not bad. Been a while. Travis Rosencrantz from Creighton Manning. I also have applicants representative Brian McGrath from Riceburg/Park East. So several weeks ago, we met informally in the town office to kind of informally discuss with everybody and kind of outline our intentions and just give some background on the project. So since that meeting, we were able to nail down some project specifics, So throughout this little introduction, we'll have what's called the building expansion that I'm referring to, and then also the staging area. Both projects are on the same project parcel owned by Park East. The anomaly to that is there is a separate little landlocked parcel that's within that overall large parcel that is also owned by Park East. There's some discussion on whether we will be doing a lot consolidation. At that time, this application does not mention or discuss or give any documentation on that. So really what we submitted was our initial site plan package. What we were able to nail down was the size of the building, where it's going. Some changes from that conversation is the building is 100 by 60. That's going to be detached from the existing building. That's a major change. Previously, it was going to be attached right to the building. So there'll be a minimum 10-foot separation and a 16-foot wide breezeway that connects it just for employee transition between the buildings. And it also allows maintenance in between. On the back end, we did end up adding a concrete pad with some bollards and then a concrete strip along the side of the building on the north side. We are currently coordinating as far as the place to put the trench drain, and that's why it's kind of, the ghost trench drain is not in the building shown right now, but we do have intention to connect that to an oil water separator and end up discharging that.
Right. This wasn't on the agenda.
No,
I know, since for business, could you just fill us in with the property, the project, and the location?
the property is located on 1173 Hoosick Street. That's right at the intersection of Brick Church Road and Hoosick Street, Hoosick Road. The parcel is a 27-acre parcel owned by Park East and currently operates as a office staging equipment maintenance area. There's currently four buildings existing on the property. They've been there for I don't know how many years, but modification to those buildings are not proposed within the project. It's currently, the garage portion of the site is currently all paved, impermeable surfaces, so there's no impermeable surfaces being added for that portion of the site. The staging area of the site, located immediately east, is currently vegetated with field grass, no trees. There will be no tree clearing as part of the project. And I guess as far as the existing project site, that's really none of it. We've done EAF, submitted some other preliminary application documents to the town.
I'm sorry, it's office space now, and
It's currently office space and garage maintenance.
what's your intention to build or rebuild?
The new building will be garage maintenance. It's just expanded garage maintenance.
Excuse me,
So I don't,
a lot here.
I'm getting a little.
I realize that you are, don't know what this project is.
I would if it was on the agenda, and I apologize, but it was not on the agenda.
You're right, it wasn't on it. It's called new business. We entertain new business here in order to get a preliminary feel for what the project is, what the applicant is requesting, and so forth and so on. And then we discuss this at this level, and then advise them as far as what's needed to move forward, to put them on our official agenda. So there's no action going to be done on this project at all tonight.
Well, I understand that.
This is strictly a presentation of this site, and so forth and so on. So that's why it's not on the official agenda, because it's under new business.
I
And,
understand.
and unfortunately, as a result of that, we don't allow for participation from the audience on these projects. We cover all that type of input from the public in a public hearing. This will have a public
Well, in fairness, it is live stream, so the people who are watching it live stream wouldn't know any more than what's being said. So I just. thought it
Well,
was-
I'm hoping that explanation.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So this is at the very preliminary stages. Just to familiarize everybody, this is the site that's in this type of use for years. It was the old Capital Tractor site for years. There used to be a Kubota dealership there and so forth. So everybody is familiar with that.
Yeah, I
So
can,
I'm gonna let you
yeah, and,
continue.
yeah, it's currently zoned commercial.
You're certainly welcome to come up here and look at these things if you'd like.
Thank you.
But
Yeah, sorry about that, I just went in.
no,
It's currently zoned commercial, we're not changing the zone, we're not seeking a variance. So everything that's being proposed is in line with the current zoning as far as setbacks. I think the majority of the project you're gonna see is off to the west here on the mound, we'll call it, which is, as I was mentioning, is existing field grass. What the goal of that particular area was to provide a gravel staging and construction equipment storage area for Park East / Reifenberg. Since our conversation, we've been able to nail down the grading, the stormwater, the size, cut, fill, erosion sediment control. So what we're proposing is a diversion swale to catch anything from the mound on the backside and divert that out of the project area. Within the gravel staging area, that's being directed to pre-treatment vegetated swale, dry swale. That's going to be directed to a forebay and then a pocket pond P5. We are treating 100% of water quality since we're considering it a hotspot. So all that documentation is included in the SWIP, and it should be marked on EAF as well. As far as other site improvements with this, we are proposing several light poles. We understand we have not done a light analysis yet or a foot candle, but we're pretty confident that anything up on this side of the hill is not going to be visible to the routes or the Hoosick Street corridor, the neighbors, and any other residents surrounding. We have some minor utility relocation as far as electrical and gas that are in the existing footprint. And that's really the quick analysis and update since we last discussed. So instead of me chomping away and talking away, we'll just open it up if you guys have any questions that I can specifically answer or put it down for.
I have a few more or less informational type questions.
Yes.
I forget the date of the project when it was first presented here. But the initial project did include a little bit different situation where they were going to remove that hill and so forth and so on. Just as a clarification, there is not going to be any excavation of any ground there at all. This is strictly a vehicle storage area.
Correct, and just to give a little background for those that were not present, in 2008, there was a site plan approved with conditions for this site, and those improvements were primarily located directly off of Hoosick Street on the front part of the parcel. That's not really shown on these layout plans. That site plan has been abandoned. That is not part of this site. It is not in the vision. It's nothing. It's not a segmented project. Totally, pretty much throw it out in the garbage. That's not going to be advanced at all. Your question, we haven't done a cut fill, but we're not going to be exporting the fill. That's one of the conditions of the site in the town. If we have an excess fill or cut that we're showing now, we will feather that out with a berm somewhere in the project area. Right now, we're not too concerned about.
And what does this have to do with the current site on 278? Is that 278 is now going to be, we're vacating that site?
278 is Brick Church?
Right.
Correct. Yes, so,
That property is, I believe, in the works of selling that property.
Okay.
yes, that's the past site of actual Reithenberg. That will be vacated, no longer associated with Reithenberg Apartments. They've outgrown it.
You have a lot of stuff over there.
That's why
Brick Church.
that's why we need 2 acres.
How are you gonna, what are you gonna just level the top off of that hill or?
Yeah, so pretty much from sort of the grading plan here, everything kind of sheets off. There's a high spot that sheets off to the back. We're cutting at a 1-on-2 here, pushing to level out, and then we'll be filling here into the property line that's along the backside.
You're still gonna be way up there.
We're cutting. We've got 20 feet of cut in places, 10, 15.
What about the water line?
There is a water line that, it's not shown on this, there's a public water line that comes along through the, let's see what's on here. It does cross, if you guys have the layout plan in front of you after the full site plan, there is a water line that comes across. We're actually filling over that. And there's no, as far as the staging area, we're not relocating that. Portion of the water line is in the building footprint and does have to be relocated.
Catch the corner of it.
It's catching the corner of the building. That's shown on C3. So we understand that there's some data lacking in coordination and information that needs to get into this, but we found value on getting at least a plan in front of everybody to let them see the vision and the progress that's going to be happening on our expedited schedule, not necessarily yours.
Where's the houses on that piece that's,
House is gone.
The house is gone.
house is gone?
The house and the pad are gone. Demo.
So this little lot, which is at the top of your
It's
plan,
just,
is what you're intending on charging, so.
You have disputed. Oh,
Reputed owners.
I thought disputed. Sorry, I read that quickly, sorry.
so additionally, because of the time frame, all of the tax map information was pulled off publicly available resources. There's not been a full title, meets, bounds, all of that indicated on the plans. We understand that will, presumably that would be needed, that's typical. And we're prepared to offer that information in an updated set.
Let's change topics here really quick. You're going to have X amount of, how many trucks are you gonna have here? Approximately?
I should know, but I'm not sure how many triaxles that. I think there's.
Is it basically the same number that's down as the other?
Correct. Yeah.
I thought it was between 60 and 70 pieces of
Piece of equipment.
Piece of equipment. Okay.
Not all at the same time because they'll be out on site in construction.
I would have to assume that since you're just up the road and moving it down towards Route 7, that the traffic pattern generated by these trucks would be almost identical. Is that correct? Do we need a traffic study on this? If it's going out, it's on,
I think it would be prudent that the board know what movement of vehicles in and out of it.
well, the one good thing is you won't be removing material out of there and generating more,
Yeah, no.
traffic out.
Yeah, we understand, yeah, that will not be, there'll be nothing going outside.
But I think with the fact that you're gonna be now directly on Route 7, and the fact that there is few traffic issues on Cruiser Street and Route 7, but I think it's.
I think if they identify the amount of traffic that it's gonna generate, and decide whether or not full-blown traffic study.
Does anybody have any questions?
Will there be, any landscaping provided to screen that area from adjacent neighbors or profile provided?
Right now, there's nothing proposed, it's pretty much, our understanding is that it's pretty much out of sight.
It would be good to know where those two houses are on Route 7 in relation to the, is this overall plan shows two parcels?
Yeah, there is a house, there are two, one's landlocked, but there's a house down there, we can look at that if we need to, maybe do a lot of site.
Yeah,
Those on the other side of the quote, not-
so this is cutting into the backside.
There's one down, its driveway is off of, who's it?
There's two there.
It's, Thomas, it's the Bauer residence.
Can you just kind of point to where that would be?
That would be off,
Just above the
So we break
retention
down here.
pond, yeah,
There's two houses there.
on the same lot.
I think one's a garage,
Mm,
no?
One has a garage.
There's two houses,
And then there's one that's for rent, you know?
yeah.
Dave, is that the tower?
Yeah.
Is it Timothy?
Oh, it's actually two Bauer,
Yeah,
Yeah.
92-1-7 and 92-1-8.2. So, I mean, we can get together.
It's just, it's hard for me to understand where those houses are in relation to the.
We can get that info and do a line of sight, just off of that line. There's a garage in the back.
and they're gonna be recovered here.
Coach, to clarify for you. So that cut is gonna be up in this area.
You're pushing it back.
We're taking it, and just pushing it right now. Make it, I think it's 2.5%, 3%.
Right?
It's gonna need an ag data state.
Is it an ag district? Yeah, just to make sure. Well, just,
It's in the rent 002. It's not active, agriculture active. We did submit an ag data statement
okay.
with, I think there were 4 within 500 feet.
Yeah.
It's all, it looks like it's all hayfield.
Cornfields.
What's that?
Cornfields.
Yeah, the Google Earth, we were just going by, but you got, the church was one, there's one in the back.
Across the road.
Yeah, so the cup will be a 2-on-1 and will be all rip wrapped. We'll have a diversion swale, and the 3-on-1 will be a erosion control blanket. And gravel, not paved, I don't know if I specified that. think what we could do to clarify on the existing conditions plan, typically we patch the project area. I gotta be honest, this guy got processed pretty quick, so I'll take responsibility for that.
What's your first name? Okay.
Well, I guess there's a few things we have to have done before, move forward, obviously. Did we get it? How long would it take to do like traffic analysis? before we have to do
I don't know anyone that does that. That's tongue cheek, sorry, we do it. We can have that done in a couple days,
that?
but to submit, I have to check with the work queue.
Right.
Yeah, I was, like, I heard March 7th was the next meeting, we can have something like that done beforehand.
All right. And Wayne, what are you requesting for the record?
For the record, I need to recuse myself from the review of this application because of current relationship I have with Reichenberg on a project out of Syracuse.
Okay. And do we have to get Ron DeBerge possibly to?
Should, on this project, should consider retaining separate review engineer.
Okay.
I know the board has in the past used LaBerge.
And that's something that's, how is that done? Do we just contact Ron to?
Correct. So what will happen is contact Ron, get him what amounts to the project application as it is. He can put together an estimate.
Okay.
And then the applicant will just set up the escrow and Ron will work off that.
Do you think that would be, process would be done by our next meeting? We have a 3-week. window
Yes.
here. Okay.
Ron turns them around fairly quickly.
Okay. So you see our dilemma there?
No, understood. As far as the traffic, I wanted to clarify, I mean, you mentioned the traffic study, but I thought we were gonna confirm the number of vehicles first to determine if there's
I
traffic.
think it would be worthy to have some information on the amount of traffic there before we decide.
Would it be safe to assume that that would be very close to the existing traffic that's going in and out of the current site?
Yeah, it wouldn't be any new vehicles, it's all vehicles that are kind of between the two sites, they're mostly over at.
Primarily, when they exit the existing site, do they come out Route 7 or do they go the opposite way to the gravel pits?
Primarily out to Route 7, I would say.
Okay.
There's actually, with that office vacating, all the office personnel vehicles are all North Greenwich now, so it's probably, not that they're trucks, you know, quick, heavy triaxles and trucks, but we're probably quite a bit less vehicles actually.
Okay.
So this, will that impact like bathrooms at this facility, or will there be more truck drivers?
I apologize, that was one thing I did have on my note to discuss, because there is an existing residential raise system. We've hit it dead end, nobody has any records on it, so we're trying to contact the designer. From what we can tell, there is a D-box, an outlet, a couple of structures, and there's looks like 4 or 5 laterals. So as far as the personnel, I'd have to defer to Brian if there's going to be additional personnel to what is there now. But currently, there's no plan to modify, increase, change what is in the ground there now.
You're not, this is, the building's use is for maintenance?
Maintenance, So it is, we did submit plan, just regular stick figure plans. I did not see that there was a restroom provided in that, presumably with the breezeway, they would be using the existing facilities in the actual old sales building.
Is this water line that comes across here, does that end at that site? Or does it continue out Route 7 or go over to 278?
It dead ends at the hydrant that's out in the parking lot. There's a hydrant out behind the building and a hydrant in the front of it. That ends there.
So that is literally the end of the line from the city of Troy.
Yes.
Okay.
They used to service the gas station.
Yep.
But when they redid the gas station, they continued the water line up, I think, and jacked it under Route 7.
They went across the road up in the field and tapped into the
Yeah.
water line and then.
Yeah, because it runs behind our project.
I think your water line, that line that's through the project is because the state of New York had their salt barn back there and contaminated the wells with salt. So they brought the water line out of Springbrook and cross lots. And that's where that came from.
All right. Do we have to, should we get a body count on that site to determine whether there is additional bathrooms and those type of facilities needed?
The only other thing I have to go by is the size of the building, what its occupancy is, and how many restrooms are needed by that.
There's another bathroom in the other building there.
I know I've been with the engineers.
Where the
there's-
Kubota used to be, there's bathrooms in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and those, it's a weird system. This guy comes out, runs through the existing building, and then it all is serviced with that existing drainage system. So. There we go. You see Percy Commons is what it is?
From what I've been told, so with WS, my use with WSP cells.
We had a discussion, we're trying to figure out what his name was. Nobody could. We knew it was a, an odd name.
Yep.
And, anyway, what's his name? Andy and I had a discussion about that.
He did that work on the site plan.
It was one of those things like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we call it the big one, yes. So we're still trying to get information on the entire septic,
Okay.
which I don't think we're not confident that we're going to. If DOH doesn't have anything, I'm sure it's just.
Wouldn't Rensselaer County Health Department have something?
So we checked with Wendy
No? Okay.
It goes
After our-
put it in
after our
the dark
meeting.
at night. And then we
All right.
Well, as long as you're not increasing the road rates.
All right, we have to do a few things. We have to get a planning board engineer. Thanks, Roy. And, so we have a few things to do before our next meeting, but we'd like to put you on the agenda for our next meeting, which is March 7th. This is a 3-week gap, which happens a couple times a year. So you have a little extra time to do whatever you need done. And we'll keep on reviewing this at our next meeting. Do you have any? I can't. I guess if you have any questions, you'll have to go through the building department at this point.
We've got everything waiting for whoever the assignee is.
So So we'll have to talk, we'll double book that night. Okay.
Travis, do you have application documents in electronic format?
Yes, yeah, they were given to Wendy.
Electronically, you have those?
I can guarantee you.
Yeah, forward that.
There
and I'll-
was
I'll
like
shoot that to
9 or
you
10
tomorrow.
documents. There was the check, cover letter, application, EAF, site plan, SWIP, ag data statement. There was a couple of appendices attached. I think it was IPAC.
Just to review. a
Just to you, Andy, or-
conversation
Why don't you send it to me and I'll
that
forward it
we
to
had at
Ron,
our
a
initial
copy of it.
meeting. You are on the clock on this, aren't you? As far as vacating your current site? What was the timeline on that?
Yeah, we understand that that's with the building progress, they're just looking to get going on the building as soon as they can, just because basically it's the house, so currently the mechanics that work on the trucks, the triaxles and mobiles and stuff are over on Brick Church Road. And then the heavy equipment mechanics are already on this property. So with selling the Brick Church Road property, they're trying to, this shop is basically for the truck mechanics for that place to work. So they're gonna be squeezing and share a shop for the needs of everybody. So just as soon as possible, basically, to get going on the building, what we understand is everything takes time.
All right.
The Brick Church Road is cleaned up May 1st. They're no longer there.
So if we get all the stuff we need, we'll have a good time and we'll move it along this accordingly. Okay. Is there any other questions for the applicant at this time? Okay, then we will see you on the 7th.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll be officially on the agenda.
Official.
You're now official.
If there's any changes that prevent us from making that as far as the traffic, because I don't have control of that report or data, I'll just keep everybody.
My main concern is to potentially address issues that are going to be in a public hearing.
Understood, and I appreciate that.
That's for your benefit. To have that ammunition there.
I don't like the target.
Yeah, so, and you know what Hoosier Street's like that. So, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Not doing this. Okay, so I think we're all set. We're all
Thank
set.
you very much.
Thank you. Now, Chuck, is there any other new business?
There is one from 807 Hoosick Road. You should see the sheet in front of you.
Yeah, I saw that.
I have been going around doing fire inspections, and one of them was at this facility. He also owns another facility down in Florida, so he wasn't able to be here this evening. This is Les McDermott at the indoor gun range.
Uh-huh.
And what he was just looking or proposing on doing is a range outdoor, not outdoor, but outside of the existing building, another range for rifles using the Connex boxes, the shipping containers, 4 of them, 40 feet, so 160 foot of range. It would be all indoor. It would be contained initially. He's looking at just 8 foot wide, one set to see how much popularity it gains. There are requirements of a 4 foot shooting range minimum, so we would only be able to have 2 shooting lanes per Connex assembly. There's a lot of things in my eyes that have to be done. Noise attenuation is a big one because there's an apartment complex not that far away from there. Overpressure, I don't know what kind of lighting they're going to have in there, but there's not a lot of room, even at 160 feet, for overpressure of, with the rifles. And safety.
Not a lot of room for error, is it?
Well, so the safety is another big one. You're going to have to harden the sidewalls, and I'm not certain what they're gonna be using for a bullet trap. So there's a lot of questions. The question was, would it be require an amendment, which I told him pretty much it would, to the site plan.
So he's gonna go through a full application for amendment to the existing site plan?
I would say that'd be the only way to do it.
Does,
Does he have one of these type ranges down in this Florida area?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Does anybody have one of these type of ranges that uses these containers?
Not that I'm aware of, not that let people in. I happened to be with a group of individuals where we were firing 155 millimeters underground up in Wright Malta. That was what, if you can envision a Quonset huts,
Yeah,
that's what those were. But the bullet trap in that case was a bunch of railroad tanker cars with the holes drilled in the ends of them. You went through 3 tanker cars. The bullet trap was just a large area full of any metal we could find, engine blocks, anything to be able to stop the projectiles. So it can be done in my eyes. You just have to be, there's some hurdles.
all right.
And I would say the applicant would have to prove to us that the bullet's going to stay in there. And also he has enough noise attenuation where it won't be heard outdoors, outside of those.
All right,
It says 16 by 116.
Yeah, it was 16 because he was planning on doing 2 of them. They're 8 foot wide. Whereas in the narrative that he put together, it was just, he was going to do 1, see what the response was. The range that he has indoors won't, he can't be used for the caliber of the rifles.
okay. I guess,
More to follow, I guess.
yeah, more to follow, okay. He hasn't requested to come before the board or anything at this point, has he?
No, this was just kind of a trial balloon.
Okay. All right, anything else?
That's all I get.
Okay, then, to review our, any old business? Okay, to review our agenda for March 7th, we have the Silas Stonehurst subdivision, and we have the Park East Reifenberg project, that's as far as I know. We have not heard anything from Marie's Muse, is that correct?
Nothing.
Henry Reiser was supposed to put in an application for a subdivision.
That was over on Ty Bush, right? And we haven't seen that either.
And we haven't heard anything from the Guardian Self-Storage, Jason Haas.
No, I understand he's still waiting on DOT input as to what the setbacks are.
Okay. Has Freedom Arms pursued anything with?
Have not received anything from Mr. Froyo.
Okay. And the only other 2 items I have on my list right now are that Brunswick Veterinarian Hospital.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from her either.
Okay. And the infamous Brunswick Acres. That's dead, right, as far as we're concerned? Or
Nothing
has it now been
currently,
reopened?
nothing currently in front of the planning board.
Okay. But the previous materials and application, is that still active?
Letter has gone out to the property owner stating that the conditional final subdivision approval has expired and he will need to come back to the planning board.
Okay.
Russ, you have a copy of that letter in your packet.
Okay. All right. So We only have 2 items on our
It's,
on our agenda for next week, or next week. And once again, that meeting is a 3-week period. Just for the,
Month starts on Friday,
is that?
Leap year.
so.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
You have a second? Second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
That Reichenberg thing, at best, they're gonna do a public hearing the first meeting in April.